I'm not being disrespectful to Iceland, they were useless, weren't they?
I walked into the room, there was JT, there was Lamps, Gerrard, Rooney.
I can really imagine that this is the moment for England.
Shows you how much you know,
Might be a little bit disappointed with that entrance from Jurgen there. I expected him to go full length, arms out, and swan dive.
Not enough space.
Never mind. Can you still do it?
No.
You were telling me before we came out to here, Jurgen, you were telling us the story about what caused the dive, why you did it. I know you've probably told it many times, but if you can tell it for the audience, please do.
Oh, that was my introduction to the Premier League. No, we drove up to the first game of Spurs in 1994, and outside the stadium, when we arrived with the bus, the Sheffield Wednesday fans put all kind of signs up in the air with 5.8, 5.7, 5.6, and the lads in the bus had a laugh and said, "This is all for you, Jurgen. You're welcome to England." And then Teddy Sheringham said, "You know what? You score a goal today, we're all going to do the dive." You know, and that's what happened. You scored the first goal. We all did the dive, and here we are.
And you continued to do it.
And we continued to do it because the week after then, obviously, we played at home against Everton, and Teddy's son at that time, I think, was 8 or 10 years old, asked his dad, "Got to tell Jurgen, you know, he has to do the dive again if he scores, because all we kids, we in the parks, we all doing the dives when we score goals." And I said, "Okay, you know," so he said, "We're going to do it again." So I scored a bicycle kick goal against Everton, and here we go.
But he thinks we're all quite unfair because he says he wasn't a diver at all. Never. Not once. Anyway, Jurgen, you know what it's like to win a Euros. You did it here at Wembley in 1996. Tell us what you remember about that tournament.
It was a fantastic tournament, obviously, from all angles. The atmospheres in the stadiums, the welcoming of England to all Europe. We probably, as a German team, had not the best team in that tournament, but we had a team that had an incredible willingness to win. And also we fought our way through the tournament, and then we had that meeting with England in the semi-finals. I was actually injured in that game, didn't play. That went down to the wire, again, penalty shootout, and we were on the luckier end of it. But what we remember, obviously, is you know, we took the song, you know, "Football is Coming Home" with us to Germany and sang it all day long, and now the German fans singing "Football is Coming Home" as well. And it's something unique in your career, in your life, that you experience, and is always remaining with you, like a World Cup as well. But what I remembered at my times is the way that the people celebrated it here in England, this tournament, you know, and with the incredible team that England had in '96.
The England squad, if I can start there, we now know there's no Grealish, no Maddison, no Harry Maguire. Harry, are you shocked by any of those decisions that they're not in the squad?
Well, I'm in the majority of one when I'm sorry to see Harry Maguire not there. I am really. I don't know. I don't know him, the boy, but he's we talk about Vinnie Jones and these people. He looks to me, whenever I want, he gives everything. You put your life on him. He ain't the most talented, but I think we'll miss him. I do really. I think him and Stones. He doesn't let England down when he plays, and I think he'll be a big miss.
But he had been injured for.
He's been injured. He's not fit to go. I mean, that is the problem. But you're looking round. Who's going to replace him? I don't know. You know, the nearest one, the type of character to him would be the boy at Brighton, Dunk, who's another lad who looks wholehearted, he's a winner, gives everything. Right. I don't know they'll pair up with Stones, but I do think Harry is, that's my opinion, I think he's a big loss.
Jack,
no, I had a feeling Jack wouldn't make it. All that talent, I love Jack Grealish, he can play, but this year he hasn't played much. And, you know, I don't know, does Jack celebrate? You know, he celebrates, and last year, maybe he needs to get back to concentrating on his football a little bit more, because he's got great ability. I love him, I was his biggest fan. But his form this year has gone to pieces a little bit. He hasn't took his game on really this year. And for me, I'm not sure he's Gareth Southgate's cup of tea anyway, because of the way he is and his lifestyle or whatever. Gareth is a steady Eddie. I don't think Jack would be I don't think he'd be going out with Jack my night out, would he? You know? But I do like Grealish. I'd have took Grealish, you know, but I'm not shocked that he hasn't gone. I just had a feeling he might not take Jack, you know. But there are other good options. The boy at Crystal Palace looks a real player, doesn't he? Is he? I mean, what a talent he looks, you know. So there's a few people who can play on that side who are playing very well at the moment.
Jack, I can imagine you'd be a Grealish and a Maddison fan, and possibly even an Adam Wharton fan and a Kobe Mainoo fan as well. What do you make of the ones left out and the ones who are in?
Yeah, I agree with Harry. I'd have taken Grealish. I think he brings something that not many players do, but I can see why Gareth wouldn't have that type of character. The one who shocks me the most, I think, is Maddison, because I don't see it like we have players like Foden who can good in tight spaces, can create things. Bellingham can run behind and he gets on the ball. But like Maddison creates space, he occupies players, he can make that final pass. I know his form dropped a little bit towards the end of the season, but I think with them types of players, when they have so much talent, like one day they could be really good, one day they might be bad, and it's that balance of risk versus reward. I think I agree again with Harry. I think we'll miss Maguire. It'd be interesting to see what they do. I think I would probably put Walker in there. I think he's the one with the most experience. Maybe putting someone with a little bit less experience is a bit of a risk. Maybe try him in the group stages and see how they get on. But yeah, I think we'll miss Maguire.
You were a young player when you came into the England side. Somebody like Wharton, as I say, who's come in really from nowhere in many ways, at 20 years old, and Mainoo, who's scored in the cup final and risen very quickly. How do you think they're going to cope with it?
Yeah, well, when I first went into the squad, I was 18, and it was just after the World Cup in 2010, and the mood was so low. And I walked into the room, there was JT, there was Lamps, Gerrard, Rooney, and I was like this little kid who just come out of school and I'm playing with my heroes. And like when I first went there, my first day, I walked into the dinner room and I was so nervous, didn't speak to anyone. But then, like when I got on the pitch, it was kind of like, right, this is why I'm here. I'm going to show what I can do. And you almost have that like fearless side, and I think that Mainoo certainly looks like that when he plays for United, and the boy at Crystal Palace as well. But playing for United, massive club, so much pressure, especially this season when they've been up and down. I think he's got the mentality to cope with it. It'll be fine.
Go on, I'll get on to Scotland later. But what have you made of the England squad? Are you bothered?
Yeah. Since you brought it up, yeah. I still think Jack Grealish is. I still think he's better playing in midfield where he can actually run with the ball. Out at the wing, it's the same thing. It's like watching the same move. He feints the fence and feints, and he goes square. Yep. When he was at Aston Villa, he was something to go back and defend, and he was breaking from his own half and eliminating players. If you think about Aston Villa, he used to get in his own half and run and go 60, 50 yards, eliminate people. So it's a different. So it was okay to a certain extent, but the boy who's come, man sitting out of the winger there for Belgium, he's come in and went, I can go inside, I can go outside, which is a bit different. Jack can really, 95% he goes inside and plays it square. So I think Pep's went, he can eliminate players, because you're talking about, he did it, and if you look at the great players in the world now, and midfield players, they can eliminate people. Your Modric's, if you go back to Iniesta's and people like that, he did it. All the ones in the midfield now, Maddison can do it, Foden can do it, because defensively people are set up so brilliantly. And it used to be you left it to the wingers to go and beat people. Now it's the midfield players. If you can do it early and beat people and go and eliminate people and then get to the back four. So I think it's important that you have people in midfield that can eliminate people now. You know, and I think Maddison can do that. And I think Grealish can do it from there. Foden can do it. So I do think in England it's imperative you have these players that can eliminate people. And I think it's the same in Europe. You'll find that midfield players, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, they can all eliminate people from midfield. The days of the midfield player who just plays it square and all that, it's kind of gone now, because that's one place you can find a space in midfield. And you actually think about it, if you can do it in midfield, it's not like you're coming up defenders to beat. It's midfield players who really can't defend all that well, so you can eliminate them from there. So I think England should have filled that team with and all these people who can eliminate. And I'll go back to it again, Harry, Maguire, I'm the same as you. I'm telling you, you're a player, when you see him stand in the box, you think, I'm not going to cross that, because he's there and he's got heads it away. And also, set plays.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, If you think about set plays, eliminating people in set plays. If you think about Real Madrid last week, for all the good players on there, the first goal comes from a corner kick. It's got to be huge set plays in this Euros. It's used in any game now.
Jurgen, you've been based in California for a long time and flipping back and forwards doing different jobs around Europe and the world. And you, it seems to me, seem to watch every game that exists anywhere in the world. So, and you've studied England very closely and you watch a lot of Premier League football. So what have you made of the squad they've named and the people who've been left out?
Well, obviously a national team manager, kind of shares his ideas with everyone in this country. So we all are in a certain way the national team manager because we all would field the starting 11 and the squad that we want to see, and we want to all put it together in a specific way. So the biggest challenge for Gareth or a national team manager is to put the puzzle together in a way that the football works and in the way that the group works. The fact that these three were left out of the group by the fact that you can actually name 26 players to the roster means that they're right now, as good as they are and as much like them as you guys are, that they are not even third choice right now. Because Gareth has his starting 11, then he has his 4, 5, 6 players that he knows these are the guys that I bring off the bench. And then I have another 9 or 10 players at my disposal, which they are not even part of because they have 26 now. So it tells us in a certain way he must have his reasons, really good reasons why he leaves them out. Do we know there is reasons? No. Maybe they are chemistry, maybe they don't match with other players in a specific way on the field, off the field, because from now on the team is together for 6 weeks, hopefully until the final in Berlin, and in 6 weeks, it's a lot of alpha animals there, in one environment. You got to think through that process, and I went through that process a few times, and I said, you know what? When I now choose the players 21 until, or even earlier, from 17 till 23, then already I take 6 guys with these 17 till 23 that don't ruin me my environment, that stick with everything I do, are good, are givers, pure givers. Now you have the chance to get 26 players. 26 players, you deal with 15 unhappy guys, alpha animals, every day, 15 of them, because you can only start 11. So you think now that process through and you say, you know what, maybe right now Harry Maguire is not in that area where he should be or where he was 6 months ago or 12 months ago, and hopefully is again after the injury and all that stuff. So that's, I think, this is the challenge for a national team manager is, for the next 6 weeks, I got to figure out the best guys to get this thing done.
He's right. Because I had to leave 2 or 3 players for the Scotland squad because they didn't suit the group, really, and the actual training performances didn't come up to intensity of what I wanted. So they had to go. But the good thing about international level, you can just leave them out and say, didn't suit the system. So it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, so they might don't fit the system right now as of today. Maybe the system after the Euros is a different one. Yeah. They come back in, no problem. But as of today, he has to choose these 26, which I think are 3 too many. I would go back to the 20. It's all post-COVID. It's all COVID related, like the 5 substitutions as well. So you gotta now give him trust to say, for right now, as of today, that's his feeling, his gut feeling as a manager. These fit the most together. They get the job done because the stress they're going through the next 5-6 weeks will be brutal. I hope the weather will be like today here in London the whole 6 weeks, but it's going to be a tough time they're going through now.
Jack, we had you on our World Cup panel in 2022, if any of you remember, or you were here, and I'm afraid I have to remind you that, of course, the last time we played a Euros abroad, you were there, and you played against Iceland. Mm-hmm. In fact, you came on at half-time, and it was probably one of the lowest points that England have ever had. Yeah. Would you like to tell us a bit about it?
It was my last game as well.
It was your last game? Yeah. What a way to go.
I was listening to Rooney on a podcast the other day. He was talking to Neville, and he asked him about that game. And he asked him about the tournament, and what he said that it was strange because we were actually playing right. We were in a good place. I think we messed up in the second game, or maybe the third game, where we already qualified, and Roy rested a few players, a few key players started that were going to start in the last 16. And then the game started against Iceland. I was on the bench, and we went 1-0 up early. Rooney scored a penalty, and it felt like it was going to be one of them games. They weren't very good. They were in a low block. It was clear what they were trying to do, and they did it once or twice, and they scored, and it went bang bang. The game was changed. It was 2-1. We were chasing the game. We got in at half time. I came on at half time. We changed a few things around, and the second half was literally us in their half trying to break them down, and we just couldn't. We couldn't break them down. And as the game went on, you could see, like, we were kicking into the goal where the England fans were behind, and you could feel the anxiety and the pressure building, and we just couldn't break them down. And Harry kept dropping deep. Harry Kane kept dropping deep. Rooney was deep, and we had no one really threatening their last line. And yeah, it was a bad day. I remember standing on the pitch after and just seeing the anger, and rightly so, because we weren't good enough. We should have beat them, from the fans. And then Roy came in after the game and said, "This is my last game," and it was a strange day.
Harry, what did you make of that? I mean, if things had been different, maybe you would have been the England manager for those 4 years, from 2012 to 2016, when we thought you might have been, actually. What did you make of England through that time? I mean, even we'd come off the back of a bad 2014 World Cup, and then what happened against Iceland? It was like we had to reset because it was so poor.
But again, you know, as Jack's mentioning players there, Rooney, Kane, you know, a fantastic group of players. And it's gone on, hasn't it? It's been so long now. We've gone, what a group this is, what a group that is. We go to the World Cup, you know, with, you know, the Terrys, the Gerrards, the Lampards, Scholes, and we keep saying this is what a team this, but we just never quite get across the line, do we? So that's what scares you with this tournament. You look at our squad and you think, yeah, we're favourites. You've got to fancy us. But can we actually, you know, produce on the day? That is going to go over the tournament, over the 6 weeks. Can we produce and actually win the tournament? That is the big problem, because whenever you keep going back over England teams, we've had good players after good players. And that was, obviously it was a shocking day, wasn't it, to get beat Iceland. I mean, I don't care, you know, it can't get much worse. I'm not being disrespectful to Iceland. They were useless, weren't they? You know, they weren't, you know, if you're getting beat by Germany or, you know, a good team, or if it's a Portugal or Italy or someone, but Iceland that was a bad day.
Gordon, I presume you've been on the wrong end of some shock results. I mean, where do you think that one stood when England lost to Iceland?
Oh, nothing as bad as that. No, seriously, no. We've had some stinkers in my life, but that was a good one. That was bad.
Jurgen, why do you think it is that England haven't got across the line? They can have some good teams, but whereas Germans previously have always had that mentality to win, England haven't been able to quite do it?
Yeah, we often wonder about that in Germany, or, I mean, I live in America since a long time, but because we always expected England to get the job done at a certain tournament, you know, because of the quality of the players and the team. Years ago, I think, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I sometimes thought that the environment got simply too stressful right before tournaments. The media were hammering on private issues, you know, running after the players, and you know, but there was always an atmosphere being created right before the tournament, like, I mean, that people really didn't believe in it, that they get the job done. So we destroy actually the team already before we start the tournament. That was the feeling from outside England, you know. I said, why are they? Then I think the last 10, 12 years, this changed, and it's changed. I see the environment far more positive, people far more positive. Also the media being in relationship to the team far more positive, with the big hope, let's get it done now. Let's win the tournament finally after 1966. And I was now in every tournament. You know, I was in Russia at the semi-final with Croatia. You know, we're working with BBC, and also at the Euros here, and then in Qatar, I was the whole tournament there, working with Arsene Wenger, the entire tournament for FIFA. We always said, no, just get it done, because now the fans are behind the team, everybody is positive, gives them a positive vibe, you know, so you feel even more now for the group, for the lads and for the manager and stuff. And maybe there was still this kind of disbelief, I don't know, at a certain point in time. I remember my halftime interview at the Euros against Italy. They were asking me, so what do you do if you're Gareth now? And I said, you know, I'm not Gareth, and I'm not telling him what to do, but I said, just don't back off now against Italy. Just do not back off now. It's 1-0 up, just go for the second goal, you know? And they backed off. And that's when you invite then, the Italians are masters in this game. They wait until you make one mistake and they're gonna find a way to score. And that's what happened. And that hurts because, you know, you see England right there. Just close it. And I think now you're in a progression of Russia, then the Euros, Qatar, played well too, lost in a penalty shootout. You can always lose a penalty shootout.
Yeah,
That's
but we all, not
yeah,
always,
but you
but
can,
a lot
no,
of time we do. Why is
but
that?
I think just now the timing it's a good timing now for England. It's a good timing. I think, you know, that we shouldn't discuss who was left out of the roster. We should discuss who's on the roster, who's getting the job done now in this team, who are the leaders in this team. You know, and I think Harry Kane is one of them. He will lead this group of players. He's hungry as hell. You know, he wants to prove. Maybe he wins finally his first trophy in Germany, where he works now. I don't know.
That's why he'll do it.
That's why I told him, go to Bayern.
Jack, can you tell us a little bit about the mentality within the England squad about penalties? Did you all sit around going, oh God, no, we can't do penalties? Was there a thing about it?
No, not really. Like, we practice them, but as everyone knows, you can practice as much as you want. But when you're playing for your country and the whole country's watching, the stadium's full, like, you can't recreate that in training. And I think what Gareth's done actually, I think he brought a new method to the practicing, and he takes a few players away and they really focus on the technique. And I would actually trust us more now in that situation, but still there's this anxiety around it. I don't know the answer.
Harry? Do you think there is?
Well, I do think, you know, the Italy game, we certainly put, you know, we had choice of penalty takers. You know, I know it's easy to be second guess after you missed a couple, but we gave the job to kids really who hadn't taken penalties before. And I thought there was one or two players there, senior players, who would have stepped up. But I suppose that's character, isn't it? When the pressure was on, one or two of them didn't fancy it, and the kids end up getting pushed up to take them, and they take them, and, you know, never really looked like scoring when they took them penalties. And that is really, I mean, you know, it's down to the manager, really. I mean, we have to take the blame. You know, if I'd have done it, you take it on the chin. You know, we bring a sub off the bench, and his first kick of the ball is to take a penalty. You know, it was decision making there wasn't great, I don't think, to be honest. It didn't help. But penalties, yeah. But we've had characters, you know, Jurgen saying about character. You look at why would we freeze in tournaments? We go all the way back to Tony Adams, his leaders. What a leader, what a captain. The John Terrys of this world, Steven Gerrard, the Lampards. We've had players who, you know, were incredible characters and winners and, you know, leaders. But for whatever reason, in tournaments, we just haven't done it. You just hope now that this is. But I really am afraid. You know, I was more confident. You know, before. You know, when I thought Harry Maguire was in the squad. I know people may say, well, he's not that good. That's their opinion. Like Gordon said, for me, you know, set plays, every corner he comes up, he wants to head the ball, he wants to score, and it comes in your box, and he's the one who's putting his head on it. I just think he's important to that team. I think he's a big loss. I really do. I think that is. My confidence is not as strong as it was before the squad was announced, for sure.
Gordon, just to get back to the penalties a second. What do you do with your players as a manager about penalties? What did you tell them? I can't even remember. Did you take penalties as a player?
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Did you?
I took 60.
Did you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jesus.
Did you score 60?
No, 54.
Oh, well, you're pretty good at them then.
Yeah, so, we've got that. I took penalties, you got that? Yeah. And to be fair,
It's a long time ago.
yeah, they were fat and shorter, the goalies in their days. Yeah, than they are now.
All right, so you're great at penalties, so tell us what the mentality is.
But I think going back to England, the mentality is, I think Jurgen was saying that it's bigger than this, the penalty's not. It's a thing that's right, as Sir Alex used to say, so it's, you determine your own future. You determine this. No, get to 1-0 and hope they make another mistake, or we can hang in there, or we go back in here. You go and grab it. You decide your own future. I think there's been many occasions where England have had that choice to go and actually go for 2-3 goals, because they've got the players to do it, instead of worrying it's one. I mean, maybe I'll not run forward now, maybe I'll sit back. Go, determine your own future. determine how the game goes. You do that. I think if they get that mentality, then you won't have to go to penalties. I think the mentality of, oh, if we just get over the line, we'll do that, we get in the lead, and hope they make a mistake to score, and hope we'll sit back here and do it. Just go. You've got the players to go and win this. You've got players that the whole of Europe are scared of. Well, go and scare them. Don't just go along and think, well, we'll maybe just get there. Go and determine this tournament, or the tournament before they could have done it, we're going to win this. So you determine on future. So that's the overall thinking I would say.
Now we've established and we all know what good penalty taker
Yes.
you were. What was your mentality when you walked up to a penalty?
I always picked the. I always decided what I was going to do. I was going to do that. The last minute, I usually change my mind.
And it worked.
So you're doing the opposite of what you were
Yeah.
thinking you were doing.
Mental strength, Gordon. Oh, some of the times I've aimed for there and it's went up there. And you'd go,
I think it's probably only fair we should move on and talk a bit about Scotland. It's a fourth Euros for Scotland. Been a bit of a struggle.
come
at
back,
times.
you need to stay for this bit.
No, well, this is why you're here, isn't it?
Yeah.
You were manager, you got close to qualifying in 2016, but you had a hard group, didn't you? You had, let's see, Germany, Poland, Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
And it was tough, but you did have chances.
And both the teams went on to do well in the tournament themselves. The three teams got out of their sections and did well. And we gave Germany the first game when they just won it in 2014. It was 1-1 with about 20 minutes to go over there. That was the first game. But we had the mentality to go for it. But again, it was a set play. It beat us. That's how important these things are. We played really well that night, scored a wonderful goal. And we had a team that was actually a good football team, but we lacked a wee bit of, I said at the time, and I was ridiculed for it, but I'll still stand by it, we didn't have the presence, physical presence at set plays. I think Harry, when he picks a team, always had about 5 or 6 that could head the ball, you know, because it's so important. So we had a good group, and you wouldn't say we're unlucky. With Poland we played, they couldn't beat us. Republic of Ireland, they couldn't beat us. But failed on something like the Iceland thing, drawn with Lithuania, which killed us, you know. So
was the team you had better than the ones going to this Euros?
Oh yeah, we were far better. No, I don't know. I really don't. They're two different teams. I think I don't know. You're going to agree with this. The international team, you pick the team on the best players you've got. Let's try and get a system that suits the best players. Mine at the time were James Forrest, wingers and people like that, so I had to play with wide men and strikers and midfield players, and I had 2 full-backs who could get forward. So that's the way I did it. I think we're now with Steve's got a wonderful midfield. I mean, a solid McTominay, McGinn, Gilmore, and Cal McGregor. 4, so he's built a team around that. And he's got a back 3 with decent height. Robertson is a wing back, we're not really sure who they're right. And people kept saying that Scotland they need a striker. They don't really. They need somebody that can complement McGinn, McGregor, McTominay getting forward, hold the ball up, bring them into play. Because they'll score goals. You know, I think McTominay scored 7 in the last year. McGinn's about 5. So there's 12 goals for that. So Steve's built a team around the best players. That's that group. And Scotland might not get through at the group stage, but I'll tell you what, every team will find it hard playing against them. I think when I think Germany played it, they know it's going to be hard. You know it's not going to be easy. And the other 2 teams will find it hard as well. They've got a good set up there and a good squad as well, good players.
You're all nodding. Do you all think Scotland are going to do okay? I don't know why I say
No,
a question mark, but
they won't be easy, you know. Like Gordon said, I mean, they'll give everybody a game. It won't be easy for anybody. I think they'll getting out the group's going to be tough, but I certainly see them picking up some points, and they could well qualify. You know, they could get out that group.
Jack?
I was nodding because I agree with the midfield. I love the boy Gilmore. What a player! I think he could play in any midfield.
Do you think he's progressed? Like when he was sort of 17 and being taught it's really great.
Yeah, I mean, no, he has. I think he had a great season. I think the coach Brighton done unbelievable things with him. I used to play against McGinn, and he was the one I hated playing against. Like, he was hard, he used to get his backside in, like, you couldn't get the ball off him. And then, like McTominay, what I said about Mainoo, like, he's playing at a club that is struggling, and at times he's been the guy who scored the winning goal or got the team back in. So they've got characters in there. I don't know too much about the defence. Does he play in the back three?
Who's this?
Tierney.
Tierney can play in the back three as a wing back.
So they've got some good attacking options as well. Robertson has been unbelievable. Let's see, it'll be difficult to get the group. The first game is Germany, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough. Yeah.
Jurgen, Germany v Scotland, nice opener or tough opener?
Tough opener.
Is it?
I think they're gonna beat them. They're gonna beat them, but they might not be surprised about especially the opening game. I think they're not expecting 20,000-30,000 Scots coming to Bavaria and taking over the city of Munich, which is wonderful because they are fantastic fans.
Do you think that puts pressure on them?
No, it doesn't put pressure on them. They take them very seriously. They respect them a lot. They know it's going to be a battle, first and foremost. But I'm confident in this German young team that just emerged actually the last couple of months. Until then, they had a huge amount of problems. That they kind of really get together at the right time. So the timing is a good timing right now for that German side. After two huge disappointments in the last two World Cups, so the Euro was not such a big problem because losing to England here at Wembley, it's not a shame. It was accepted. But they did very poorly in Qatar, and they did even worse in Russia. It's about time for that group of, that generation of players to show a different face to Germany.
Why do you think it was that Germany tailed up? We're so used to them doing so well.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't work out. The chemistry within the team didn't work out anymore, and maybe we often get our lessons when things were too successful. So after 2014, we're winning the World Cup. Maybe the optimism was going into almost like of becoming arrogant in a certain way. And then it always takes a couple of tournaments, the negative tournaments, to re-emerge and kind of get yourself in balance and become modest and grounded again, and then start all over again. But it's a team now that has a couple of very exciting youngsters, with Musiala at Bayern Munich and now Florian Wirtz at Leverkusen, an amazing talent. And he brought back Toni Kroos from Real Madrid just for that tournament. He finished his career after the tournament. Gundogan obviously is one of the anchors in the team, and so it's a good mix of young and old, and they're playing at home. So a lot depends also when you play a tournament at home from your opening match. So they need a good result against Scotland, and also they need a good game, against Scotland. And if they get the job done, then I can imagine that they will kind of ride a bit of a wave and make it into the Final Four.
We can never quite make our minds up here about Kai Havertz in this country, about is he good, is he not, is he a bit weak, is he a centre forward, is he wide, does he fit anywhere? What's the German view of him as a player?
He fits everywhere.
Yeah?
He fits everywhere because he can play, a false number 9, he can play on the left, on the right, and he is not a natural number 9, so he's not a player with the back to the goal. So he likes to roam, he likes to be in movement, and likes to switch positions with the other ones. He's going back into midfield, getting his ball. So he's a very good alternative for the young coach, Julian Nagelsmann, very, very young coach that was appointed to a traditional number 9, which we have in Niklas Füllkrug, the player that plays for Borussia Dortmund. He's a real number 9. He's a more Harry Kane. He's a traditional number 9. So he has the choice, He won't play both together, I don't think so. Just maybe at the end of the game to just break it. But in the beginning, he will play definitely Musiala on one side and Wirtz on one, and then or Havertz or Füllkrug. But Havertz is a wonderful player to have, without putting him in a certain box to say this is exactly where you have to play. Let him float.
You see quite a bit of him from time to time on the training pitch at Arsenal. What do you make of him?
I agree. I think, especially as well in tournament football, like if England don't really have that type of player, who can play as a false 9, can play off the wing. He seems to have grown in confidence as the season's gone on as well. He scored a few important goals for Arsenal. And he seems like when he was at Chelsea, people didn't really know what he was, but I think Mikel's done a really good job at fitting him in, playing him in different positions, building his confidence, making him feel part of something. And yeah, he's a really interesting player, I would say.
Harry, we never had false 9s, did we, when you were a manager? I can't imagine you going, telling your lads to play false nine.
No, we had big centre forwards, didn't we? Get it up there and hold the ball up or put yourself about in the box. But no, it's very, very different. But I mean, we've got the best number 9 in the world, haven't we? So that's a big advantage for us, Harry Kane. That is for me. There's no one better than Harry, and he's going to be very, very important to us again. He's a leader. He scores goals, he can do everything. He's a complete all-round footballer, in my opinion, and that's going to be a massive advantage, to have him in the team. But I'm interested in the German team because it's, as Jurgen says, it's about time they produced a team again that are going to. And being at home, the tournaments in Germany, they're dangerous. They're going to be dangerous, Them and Portugal, as I said earlier, they would be the teams that I would fear most in this tournament from England's point of view.
We're going to take a break in a couple of minutes. So just before we go to that, I mean, a lot of people are considering England favourites for this, and I've heard it before, and we all go, yeah, but we never quite get it over the line. Are England the favourites, do you think? Are you all in that camp?
Yeah.
So they are.
I am.
They're going to win it.
Yeah, I think we'll win it, yeah. I'll be disappointed. I wouldn't be, we've gone to the tournament, if we get to a semi-final, we'll go. No, if we get to a semi-final and get knocked out, we ain't done well. This team now, it needs to win it. This is an amazing group of young players we've got, especially going forward. That talent, as Gordon said, let's go for it, go for them. If we do that, I don't know, I can't see anybody really stopping us. But, but there will be, for me, the main opposition will come from Germany and probably Portugal, but I don't think anybody has got the strength that we've got, the team that we've got.
Jack, we're going to win it?
I definitely think we're favourites. It's interesting that the dynamics sort of changed because now, in my opinion, if we don't win it, it will be seen as a failure. Where I don't think this group of players have had that. Last Euros, we sort of rode the wave, got to the final, and it was amazing. Then the World Cup, World Cup's a little bit different to the Euros, but now it's like that next step. We've got the best players on paper. I know the game's not played on paper. I agree with Harry and Gordon about our biggest strength is going forward. Let's do that. Let's play with 2 attacking midfielders. Don't need someone next to Deck. Let Deck do that on his own, and then let's go forward and try and live in their half, counter press the life out of teams. We're good at that. We've got players that play for Liverpool, for City, for Arsenal, some of the best teams in the world at doing that pressing. So let's do that, and then let's see.
Gordon, you like to see England do well?
I would like to see England do
well.
because I like Harry Kane in particular. I think there's a humility about him that every kid could concentrate on, and forget your Instagram, TikTok and all that. So watch him. If you want to grow up, watch him. If you want to do anything, you want a social media thing, just get Harry Kane, because I think he's wonderful playing football. Would I like us to win? I'd like for some of the players, because I'm a fan of some of the players, but no, really. You're bad enough without winning something. You're intolerable as a nation without winning anything. So if you win something, it'll be a complete nightmare, and I'm moving to Iceland, where I can enjoy myself and change my nationality to being Icelandic, so I can bask in the glory of beating England, being an Icelander.
Jurgen, do you think we are the favourites?
I think the timing is just right. The progression, Russia, then the Euros, and that experience obviously with the Italy final. And a good World Cup in Qatar, it's just, the time is right. Anything can happen, but I think the team is now also mature enough to deal with all those expectations and the pressure. You often talk about pressure. Pressure is just, it stimulates you. It helps you to do actually more than you were supposed to do. So I think that the team has the right balance, has the right leadership. Obviously, Harry is the leader of the gang, and Gareth Southgate matured throughout those tournaments. He knows what he could have done differently in previous tournaments. You also, as a manager, you mature as well. You learn as well. You rethink everything you did in a tournament again and again and again, because you said, I didn't win this trophy. I should have done something different. And I can really imagine that this is the moment for England. Not because I'm here right now, but because I think the timing is good.